Video we are going to talk about functions. Or functions में there are different components that we are going to cover, especially we are in Java. So basically we are using Java, and in Java we created this function called getImageURI, which basically gets a unified resource identifier, basically which identifies an asset, a file, or some content. So this function getImageURI returns a value, a data type, and the data type is URI. So basically this is a function we created just for a small task, and we are going to talk about the different aspects of this function, like what's its basic purpose. So essentially a function is something that we want to perform a task, so we create a function and we eventually call that function whenever we want to get the task done. For example, if we want to upload a file, we will create a function called upload file, and that essentially that function will open a file dialog when we click the button, and we would select the file from the directory structure from C drive or E drive or the documents, and then when we select the file and click OK, that function will have the lines of code which will execute, and apparently the file will be uploaded to a server. So that's the essence of a function, is to do a particular task. Now we are going to, there are different components of a function, so we are going to talk about this getImageURI function in Java. And the first uh, access specifier you see is public. It means that public, this method, people call it method or function, I basically call it method. It's the same thing depending on different authors. People call it functions or methods. So public is an access specifier, which means that the method getImageURI can be accessed by any class, uh, and but we have to create an object in order to access it. The method getImageURI returns a data type, a value whose data type is URI, universal resource locate identifier, URI. So basically a URI is an address, for example SD card slash gallery slash 123, which is your file name dot jpg. This is a URI, it is an address. And in the parameters of the method we pass two parameters, in context and in image, and we also specified the data types. So these two methods, these two values, the first one is in context, its data type is context. Basically context is a data type developed in Android, and it's pre-built in Android. That means it's a class and it's an interface to a global information about the application environment. It's basically an abstract class and it represents the environment. The second method is the bitmap. Bitmap is basically an image type, and we can create images by using the bitmap class. Bitmaps are used extensively in programming, especially in app development. So what we do is, in this method we created a object of the byte array output stream class, and we initialize that object whose name is bytes. We initialized it by calling the constructor on the right side, and we assigned it a new value which initializes the bytes object, and it's ready to be used subsequently in code. And then we use the image object, and we call a method called compress. In the parameters we pass the bitmap compress format, which is JPEG. So we told the function that we would pass a parameter of JPEG image format, and the second parameter is quality. We pass 100, and the third one is bytes. So we pass the object we previously created, and then we create a variable called path whose data type is string, and we basically use the insert image method and this method, and we pass the get content resolver, the in image, and a title which is a string, and the description is null. So we pass these parameters, and finally we return the URI.parse method. We call the parse method, and we in the parameter we pass the path. This would return the URI that we are looking for, and we would call the getImageURI method whenever we feel like we need the actual URI which will identify the location of our file, image, or content. So this is how a function or a method is created.